welcome to chapter 2 of Introductory Agrometeorology and Climate Change, that is the solar radiation. In this chapter, we are going to learn so many most important, very easy things in this whole class. Before I go into the class, I would like to just share with you a small experience of me with the teams I had worked with, the people I worked with, the students I have learned. Maybe I may have taught, but I learned a lot of them. A small story first I would like to say. This story had always been in my memories. Now, once there was a small cow in a village. In a small village there is a cow. That cow has entered into the forest. The king of the forest, tiger, why you have entered into my forest? There are so many cows here, there are so many beasts here, so many animals are there. You are a new entrant. No, I should kill you. Yes, okay. Immediately the cow accepted. Sir, you can eat me, no problem. However, pray to you is that I have a small baby of a few months old back in the home. In my absence, she will be very difficult. It will be very difficult for her to live. No, I won't leave it. The tiger told, at any cost I won't leave. Trust in me, sir. I am a docile animal. Trust in me. I have integrity, honesty. I will come back and then you can eat me immediately after I come. I won't take much of your valuable time. You are so much of hunger, I know it still. Okay. I am giving you very most reasonable time of 1 hour. Just go, come back. I am so much in hunger. So quickly the cow reached the village, asked his baby, never and ever hurt anybody, never and ever you borrow anything, even food from anybody. If they give, eat, otherwise just leave it. Never quarrel with anybody. Even if somebody tries to quarrel, think that you have not listened to it, so that you won't increase your number of enemies. Try to be in your own limits always. Think twice before you talk and get yourself ready to face any event with your own, on your own, not depending on anybody. Now, my dear calf, so the tiger is so hungry that it asked me within 1 hour, bye. What all I said, try to be a good animal in the village, be loyal to your farmer, always try to think good, do good, so you will survive in my absence. Quickly it galloped into the forest, and the tiger was eagerly awaiting. 1 minute before the time elapsed, the cow had gone there. Now, the king of the forest, I am at your disposal, you eat. Immediately, the king of the forest was so humble, it had forgotten everything of his ferociousness and everything. Will there be any animals like this in the world? No. You are a cow, please leave, go to your baby. I am not going to touch you at all. Okay, good. What is the meaning of it? With humbleness, with your frankness, with your piousness, with your sacredness, you can win anybody, even anything you can achieve. This is the thing which I would like to share with you. Now, so let us go into our chapter 2. What is that chapter? That is the solar radiation. It's very interesting. No physics, not much of mathematics. Simple here and there. Some physical laws I would like to share, which are really useful to understand. In the chapter 2, while explaining to you in the basics, I had already defined them. Just interpretation I will give. So, no physics, no mathematics. Okay, we learn, we learn solar radiation and everything very easily, very easily. Now, so we started first basic laws of solar radiation with what are the processes of transmission of energy. So in the universe there are three processes of transmission of energy: radiation, conduction, convection. Radiation is one of the processes of transmission of energy without the presence of the medium. Example is energy from the sun reaching the earth. Good. Now conduction, transmission of energy within the medium without the movement of the molecule. Within the medium without the movement of the molecule. If you take an iron rod, burn it one side, the energy goes. No movement. That's called as conduction. The third one is the convection. Medium is there, actual movement of the molecules are there. If you take a beaker, put water and add some potassium permanganate or anything, so they know that the potassium permanganate molecules get mixed. So convection process, actual movement of the molecules are there and medium is there. Now, so these are the basic three ways of transmission of energy or forms of transmission of energy. Radiation without the presence of the medium. Conduction, convection. Medium is there without the movement of the molecules, conduction. With the movement of the molecules, convection. Please note that in all the agriculture meteorological processes, particularly climate processes, goes with the convectional process of transmission of energy, where movement of the molecules is very much there. So this is a simple explanation for forms of transmission of energy. Now, in that class, after the forms of transmission of energy, we tried to understand what is the importance of solar radiation. Chapter 2 is solar radiation. What is the importance of it for the cropland? All the processes, starting from germination to photosynthesis, translocation, solar radiation play an important role. Even in the soil also, soil processes, solar heating is very much essential for the microbial activity, thereby translocation of or movement of nutrients. Movement of nutrients along with the water, they are influenced by solar radiation. Then few fundamental basic laws of solar radiation, not radiation loss. It's a very big chapter. Solar radiation loss, we try to understand. Just what is wavelength? What is Planck's law? What is Kirchhoff's law? What is Stephen's Boltzmann constant? What is Wien's displacement law? Just these are the basic laws that I had explained. All these laws are very much useful in understanding the processes of solar radiation, okay, on the croplands. Okay, solar radiation on the crop. These laws are very much useful in the practical class of solar radiation. I try to elaborate how each law is really useful in the croplands or in growing of the crops. Then we try to understand what is solar spectrum. What is solar spectrum? Solar spectrum is it's a wonderful science. Solar spectrum is a wonderful science. Several books are there in this particular word. Okay, several books are there. Now, physicists, astronomers, astrophysicists, crop physiologists, crop physiologists, different scientists have defined, used this solar spectrum in different ways. Simple, ours is a basic course. Why I am telling all these things, such a wonderful subject is the solar spectrum. Now, the distribution of energy in a simple way. What is solar spectrum? The distribution of solar energy into different bands is known as solar spectrum. Nothing more than that. The distribution of energy, solar energy into different bands is known as solar spectrum. Nothing more than that. UV rays are there, 0.005 to 0.4 microns. Then light part is there, 0.4 to 0.7 microns. 0.7 to 1 micron, near infrared, more than 1 micron, okay, it is far infrared. Okay. So the first part, UV part, 0.005 to 0.4 microns have 9% of energy. 0.4 to 0.7, what we call it as the light. Violet, green, orange, red, whatnot. V, I, B, Z, Y, O, R. Okay. All these things have got 41% of energy. Ultraviolet rays 0.005 to 0.4 have 9% of energy. Then the light part 0.4 to 0.7 microns have got 41% of energy. The remaining 50% of the energy is from 0.7 to more. Okay, 1, 2, 4, 120, like that. Okay, so the full spectrum is like this. After understanding what is the solar spectrum, in that particularly light is there. 0.4 to 0.7, V, I, B, Z, Y, O, or light is there. So that light has got a particular very significant effects on the croplands, starting from, okay, biomass production, tiller production, biomass production, how the energy is stored, how energy is translocated, all these things are driven by light part of the spectrum. A couple of minutes back, we tried to understand what is the importance of solar radiation for the crop. Solar radiation is a big band, so many bands. Small light band is having these effects. Biomass production, tiller production, flower induction, okay, pollination. Then after that, the growth of the plant. All are a function of light and matter. That's what we try to understand. Then, after knowing what exactly is the light, we tried to understand in the basics classes of 1, 2, 3, what are the factors affecting the receipt of solar energy onto the earth. Say for example, this is the globe, okay, right, this is the sun, okay, from sun energy is coming. What are the factors that are influencing the receipt of the earth? The first one is the solar output. We have divided them into two: astronomical factors, geographical factors. Astronomical factors, and this is the thing, from, okay, astrophysical aspects. First one is the solar output, the distance between the earth and the sun, and finally the altitude of the sun. Okay, so these are the three astronomical factors. And as far as the geographical factors are concerned, the nature of the atmosphere, the latitude, the altitude, and the length of the day. So these are the geographical factors. What are all these? Factors affecting the receipt of solar radiation onto the earth. These are the geographical factors, the second one. Astronomical factors, first one. Now, then we tried to understand what are the factors affecting the distribution of solar radiation. Distribution of, once the solar radiation has come, it is falling on the crop. How it is getting distributed? What are the factors of them? Number one is the type of the plants. Different plants are there. Bushy type, spreading type, both bushy and spreading, trees, whatnot. Different types of plants are there. First one is the type of the plants. Second one is the age of the leaves. Third one is the chlorophyll content. Fourth one is the arrangement of the leaves. Fifth one is the angle of the leaves. Sixth one is the plant density. Seventh one is the plant height. The last one is the angle of the sun's rays. Simple, in 1 minute I will explain to you. Type of the plant. Different types of plants are there, as I said. Cereals are there, aquatic plants are there, whatnot. So the transmissivity of these plants, transmissivity means sun is there, from the sun energy is falling. How it is getting transmitted? So cereals will respond differently for its transmissivity. Unless the energy is transmitted to the deeper layers of the crop will not perform to its optimum for yield. Okay, like that. Similarly, aquatic plants. So type of plants. Next one is the age of the leaves. This is a tender leaf. This is a relatively older leaf. The transmissivity, that means the energy falling on this going down of the transmissivity of younger leaves is more as compared to older leaves, because the leaves are older, the transmissivity is less. I will explain to you what is the transmittivity after just 1 minute or 2 minutes. Now, third one, the chlorophyll content. The chlorophyll content of this leaf is less. The chlorophyll content of this leaf is more. More the chlorophyll content, lesser the transmissivity. Less is the chlorophyll content, more is the transmissivity. Next one, the arrangement of the leaves. Horizontal leaves are there, erect leaves are there. Usually the ratio is of transmissivity. The energy transmissivity ratio is 1:0.44 for the horizontal leaves. Horizontal leaves means this is the horizontal leaves. Okay, angular leaves. Okay, angle. In the angle, the leaves are there. These are the horizontal leaves. So 1:0.44 is the ratio. Then the arrangement of the leaves. You see, arrangement of the leaves play an important role. Okay, as far as transmissivity of energy, solar energy into all the crop, into deeper layers from top to the bottom. Okay, then the angle of the leaves also play an important role. That's what I explained to you in the basics class. What is meant by angle? 13% of the leaves should be 0 to 30 degrees. 0 to 30 degrees. 30 to 60 degrees, 37% of the leaves, and remaining 50% of the leaves 60 to 90 degrees. So that means if a crop is having leaves like this, if this is the stem, the top leaf should be like this, 60 to 90 degrees to the stem. 60 to 90 degrees to the stem. Next leaves 30 to 60. First 13%, 0 to 30 degrees centigrade. Then the solar radiant energy that is falling on the crop will go, and then crop will perform to its optimum level. Okay. Type of the plant, age of the leaves, chlorophyll content, arrangement of the leaves, angle of the leaves. Then the plant density. What is meant by density? The number of plants per unit area is known as density. More the number of plants, lesser the transmissivity. If more number are there, transmissivity is less. That means solar radiation falling on the crop, the reaching to the ground level is less. Now, the next one is the height of the plants. As the plant heights, okay, different heights of plants are there. This is a short plant, this is a taller plant, this is another shorter plant, okay. Taller the plants, lesser the transmissivity. Angle of the sun's rays. Presume that this is the east, this is the west. Then when I am facing towards the sun, this is the east, to my back is the west, to my right side is south, to my left side is north. Now, sun's rays. When sun's rays are falling straight onto the crop, the penetration, the transmissivity is more. However, as compared to this one, both in the morning as well as in the evening, the rays have to travel more. However, some diffusion also takes place as compared to straight falling in the afternoon, both in the morning as well as in the evening. Morning and evening, the sun's rays penetrating, okay, are less as compared to straight. So these are the factors affecting the distribution of solar radiation within the plant canopies. Prior to that, we tried to understand factors affecting the receipt of solar radiant energy onto the earth. First, solar radiant energy onto the earth. Astronomical factors, geographical factors. Once it has come, when it is falling on a crop, what are the factors? That we studied. Now, very interesting thing also we have studied. The physiological responses of different bands of incident radiation. Very interesting. As I said some 7 to 8 minutes back, solar spectrum, so wonderful science. Basically, it is divided into 3 bands: ultraviolet, light, infrared band. Now, a group of Dutch scientists have divided these 3 bands into 8 bands to understand the effect of each band. When these 3 bands are divided into 8 bands, so what are the effects of these bands, okay, on the crop plants? Now, the layer, what they have taken is, first band they have taken is more than 1 micron. Okay, more than 1 micron. That energy is converted into heat, thermal, okay, thermal energy, which is essential for movement of the water, phloem, xylem, okay, translocation, everything. Plant should maintain some temperature. More than 1 micron is useful for thermal energy, that means it heats the crop plant. Between 0.7 and 1 second band, okay, it has got specific elongation effects. That means if your crop is not growing properly, okay, if you allow 0.7 to 1 range of solar spectrum, it grows quickly. Okay, that's what. First, 1 micron and above, it has got thermal effects on the plant. That means it heats the crop. It is essential. Heating the crop is that you should maintain some temperature, like human beings, like animals. Okay, so now 1 and above microns is thermal effect. 0.7 to 1 specific elongation effect. Then the light band is divided into 3. 0.4 to 0.7 is the light band. They have divided into 3. This particular light band they have found 0.61 to 7. 0.51 to 0.61. Then 0.4 to 0.51. These 3 bands they have got photosynthetic effect, large level photosynthetic, photomorphogenic, photoperiodic effect, which is essential, most essential for crops. Then again, after dividing the infrared band into 2, the light part is divided into 3. 3 plus 2, how much? 5. The ultraviolet band, that is 0.005 to 0.4, they have divided into 3 bands. All these 3 bands are harmful. They have got negative impacts on the crops. Germicidal action, fluorescence, of course, fluorescence to some extent accepted, but however, germicidal lethal effects are there for these 3 bands, that is 0.31 to 0.4, 0.280 to 0.31, lesser than 0.280. These are the lethal effects. So, the ultraviolet is divided into 3, the light is divided into 3, 6, the infrared is divided into 2. So, these are the physiological, how a crop physiologically respond to different bands of incident radiation. Now, in a very short span of 10 to 15 minutes, we tried to understand 3 important things. The first one, factors affecting the receipt of solar energy onto the earth. Astronomical factors, geographical factors. Factors affecting the distribution of solar radiation within the plant canopies, starting from plant type of plants to angle of the sun's rays. Again, we tried to understand physiological responses of different bands of incident radiation. That is ultraviolet band 3, light band 3, infrared band 3. This is how. Then after that, we should understand a small thing, energy balance. Very, very simple, very, very interesting. What is meant by energy balance is the sun's energy is coming, earth is there, the sun's energy passes through the earth. When it is striking the atmosphere, 2/3 is reflected back, 1/3 is reflected back, 2/3 reaches the earth. Say for example, 31%, approximately 31% is reflected, 1/3. 2/3 is reaching, say 69% is reaching. Of the 69%, 48% is absorbed by both lithosphere and hydrosphere. Again, the atmosphere, the water vapor molecules are there, okay? The dust particles are there, some water vapor and dust particles together, aerosols are there, okay? These will absorb the remaining thing. Once again I will repeat, when sun's energy is falling on the atmosphere, around approximately 31% is reflected by atmosphere, the remaining 69% is coming. Of this remaining 69%, 48% is absorbed by lithosphere, hydrosphere and atmosphere. Now, if energy goes on coming, earth gets warmed up, human being, animals, plants, life is not possible. That's why the incoming radiation should be equal to outgoing radiation. Incoming radiation is equal to outgoing radiation is the energy balance. That means 0. Incoming minus outgoing should be 0. So 0 balance should be there. However, for maintaining the warmth of the earth, okay, some energy should be available in the atmosphere. That's what we call it as the normal greenhouse effect, not enhanced greenhouse effect by anthropogenic or human activities. Now, greenhouse effect is essential in the energy balance. The greenhouse effect, normal greenhouse effect is most essential to maintain the warmth of the earth. So, energy balance is incoming is equal to outgoing. Otherwise, the balance between incoming and outgoing is 0. So, this is what we call it as the energy balance of the earth. Then, we try to understand very simply some terminology used in the solar radiation. So, very good. I have written 2 books on terminology on agricultural meteorology. As far as the solar radiation is concerned, just I try to explain to you in 2 minutes the basic, the fundamentals of terminology, what you should learn. No physics, no mathematics. Truly, it's very interesting. Now, what is meant by radiation? Radiation is one of the processes of transmission of energy, is it? Okay, good. One of the processes of transmission. What are the other 2? Conduction, convection. Now, radiant energy, if you are interested to understand, without physics, without mathematics, some basic terminology is short wave radiation. Radiation, several scientists have. Solar radiation, I am not talking of general radiation. We are interested in agriculture, we are interested in solar radiation for our food, crop growing, finally money to the farmer. That's it. Not radiation which otherwise used by certain industries for some other purpose. We are not interested in that. Solar radiation terminology. So the energy, shorter the wavelength, more the energy. Longer the wavelength, lesser the energy. Good. What is happening is short wave radiation. What is meant by short wave radiation? Up to 4 microns is the short wave radiation. What is long wave radiation? 4 to 120 microns is the long wave radiation. What is net radiation? The difference between the incoming for outgoing. Incoming and outgoing. The difference between incoming and outgoing is known as net radiation. That net radiation is only useful. We discussed in the chapter 2 importance of solar radiation to the crop plants. Then small part, 0.4 to 0.7, light part, how it is useful. So this net radiation only. Net radiation means the difference between the incoming and outgoing. Now, what is the solar constant? It's very interesting. Of course, at PG level, at PhD level, even at the postdoctoral level, when one of you or few of you are interested, you can study. It's a wonderful science. Again, solar constant. By definition, solar constant is defined as the energy falling in on over a square centimeter area, the energy falling over a square centimeter area in 1 minute at a mean distance between the earth and the sun. At a mean distance between the sun and the earth over a square centimeter area, how much energy is falling in 1 minute is known as solar constant. It ranges from 1.94 to 2 Langley per minute, or Langley means calories per centimeter square. Okay, calories per centimeter square per minute, or Langley per minute. Average value is 2. It ranges from 1.94 to 2 calories per centimeter square per minute, or Langley per minute. This is the solar constant. This is another most important terminology. As I said, there are innumerable terms, but let us see what is meant by black body. What is meant by black body radiation? Black body is a hypothetical body. It is the perfect radiator. It is also perfect absorber, vice versa. It is a perfect absorber, perfect radiator. What is the black body radiation? The radiant energy emitted by a black body is known as black body radiation. So, after understanding what is the short wave radiation, what is the long short wave radiation up to 4 micron, long wave radiation 4 to 120 micron. what is the net radiation? The difference between the incoming and outgoing radiation is known as the net radiation. What is solar constant? The energy falling over a square centimeter area at a mean distance between the earth and the sun. Langley per minute, calories per centimeter square per minute. What is black body? A black body is a perfect absorber, perfect radiator. Now, black body radiation. The radiant energy emitted by a black body is known as black body radiation. Now, I told factors affecting the distribution of solar radiation within the plant canopies. Factors affecting the distribution of solar radiation within the crop canopies. When I was explaining, I was telling you transmissivity several times. Younger leaves, transmissivity is more. Lesser the chlorophyll content, more the transmissivity, and vice versa, like that I told. What is meant by transmissivity? There are three words: transmissivity, reflectivity, absorptivity. When solar radiant energy is falling on the leaves, the ratio between the incident to reflected is known as reflected. That means it is reflected by reflectivity. The ratio between the incident solar radiation to reflected by the leaf is known as reflectivity. The radiant energy transmitted ratio of incident to transmitted is known as transmissivity. Based on the transmissivity only, we can explain factors affecting the distribution of solar radiation within the plant canopies or crop canopies. Transmissivity. Why? Unless it is transmitted from the top to the bottom, plants won't grow. Farmers never get the money. So, solar intensive path. So, what is transmissivity? It is the ratio between the incident to the transmitted. Then what is absorptivity? Finally, unless it is absorbed by the leaf and leaf's bottom layers, there is no question of any photosynthesis, there is no question of any biomass, there is no question of any crop yields. Now, the absorptivity means the ratio between the incident to the absorbed is known as absorptivity. Right? Reflectivity, transmissivity, absorptivity. Finally, there is one called as albedo. Albedo is the almost reflectivity. It is the ratio between reflected to the incident. However, when monochromatic light is there, that's what we call it as the reflectivity. Albedo means the full band. It is the ratio between the incident radiation to the outgoing radiation. Incident radiation to the outgoing radiation is known as albedo. Usually, white surfaces like a white paper, a white shirt or a snow, they have 75 to 95% albedo values. Usually, sand, silt, clay, they range from 15 to 25% different types of soils. So, albedo means the ratio between the incident to the outgoing. In percentage is the thing, units we use. Now, what is after knowing what is solar radiation, what is solar spectrum, what are the factors affecting the distribution of solar radiation within the crop canopies, we should know. What is the importance of solar radiation, or what are the effects of importance of solar radiation on certain crops? Paddy, groundnut, sugarcane and cotton, I would like to say two point importance. Research results of solar radiation on these crops, major crops. Okay, when shading occurs and no good light intensity, full light intensities are not there, shading is there, the yields of paddy are reduced at least by 1 ton per hectare. As far as rice crop is concerned, another most important thing is solar drying of rice is always very useful than mechanical or forced convection. So, solar radiation is useful for drying of the paddy. Similarly, solar radiation is essential, most essential for spikelets, filled spikelets. If solar radiation is not in good quality, unfilled or chaffy earheads you will find. As far as groundnut is concerned, full light intensities, groundnut crop responds very good. If shading occurs during the flowering, the growth of the groundnut crop is more. Once the growth of the groundnut crop is more, it becomes lanky. no biomass, flowers above the ground level to a large extent, and again those flowers convert into gynophores, entering into the soil is not possible, the yields are reduced. Similarly, the solar radiation detoxify, aflatoxins in the groundnut. This is one of the interesting research topics. Okay, that is the research findings of solar radiation on rice and groundnut. On sugarcane, abundant solar radiation is required for sucrose. In sugarcane, we want more sucrose. Abundant solar radiation is required for sucrose production in sugarcane. That's why sugarcane crop is not grown in areas where there is no abundant solar radiation. Finally, one more commercial crop is cotton. Cotton crop grows only in areas where at least during its lifespan there should not be 60% of the days with cloudiness. Cloudiness with 60% of the areas, okay, during its growth are not suitable at all for cotton crop growing. Why? Shading results in flower drop. Shading results in no photosynthesis, no photosynthetic production, no translocation of photosynthesis into the economic parts. Finally, when shading is there in cotton crop, boll shedding will be there. Once bolls are shed, farmers' income goes in the negative lens. These are the most important things as far as the research findings of solar radiation. Major crops like rice or paddy, groundnut, sugarcane, and cotton is concerned. Finally, what are the units of measurement of solar radiation? You yourself will say it is the energy. All energy units are the measuring units of solar radiation. What are those? Calories, hertz, watts per meter square, what not? All energy units, hertz, joules. Okay, these are the units of measurement of solar radiation. Thank you very much.